Yo, what is good, Chef family? We're back again with another YouTube video, and today's topic, Braxton Miller. If you're an Ohio State fan, you're vividly remembering the name. If you're a college football fan, you're remembering the name. Braxton Miller, what a story. That's what we're going to talk about today, so I don't want to spoil it all and give you a 5-second summary, right? Because we're going to go way more in detail than just a 5-second summary, but it's a story of adversity, grit, loyalty, not giving up, to see the course, to truly have love for the university that you attended. So that's what we're going to talk about Braxton today and his story, man. It's crazy. You know, you're going back and you're realizing some things, and he's a 5-star coming out of high school, right? To start it off, he's a 5-star coming out of high school, a lot of hype. Was the number 2 dual threat quarterback in the country behind Jeff Driscoll. And in comparison, Jeff's now in the NFL. Jeff is now in the NFL, and he's the backer for the Broncos. Braxton Miller, not so much, right? But what led Braxton Miller to where he's at now? There's a lot. So start off with Braxton Miller from Ohio. Was the number 1 ranked player in the country entering his freshman season, and was just an insane talent. Ended up dropping down to number 2 dual threat, like we said, to Jeff Driscoll. But his career ended out so much different than Jeff's. He goes to Ohio State. Keep in mind, he only had like 12 offers. He was a blue chip quarterback, but I think a lot of schools didn't even bother seeing the offer because they knew he was an Ohio State lock. Heads to Ohio State, goes to the Army All-American game. Boom. Now he's at Ohio State, right? His freshman season, he's the backup to some guy named Joe Boserman. Ohio State fans, you probably know the name. Just not a good quarterback. Braxton Miller made an appearance in Week 1 versus Akron. Had a decent stat line, about 160 yards. I mean, you can show some highlights of him from his freshman year. After that, number 17th ranked Ohio State went on to lose to Miami, 24-6. Now to put that into like perspective, the week before Miami had lost to Maryland. Miami went 6-6 that year. They were not a good team. It was not like some crazy good Miami team that was just, you know, it wasn't that story. It's a story of Miami and Ohio State both being mediocre that year. And mediocre is a nice way to say it for Ohio State fans. And about mid-season, Braxton Miller got the starting spot. Ended up doing really well. Wow, can't speak. Versus Nebraska. Got hurt. Joe had to come into the game. Joe Boserman choked the game. No surprise there. Miller then beat Illinois. 16th ranked, they were undefeated at the time. Then went on to beat ranked Wisconsin. Had a game-winning touchdown.
We get set. A half minute to play in the fourth quarter. Miller flushed, wants to throw. Now he's going to do what he can with his legs. No, he will throw. Lobs it to the end zone. Touchdown! Devin Smith.
OSU ended that year 6-7. Braxton showed a lot of promise this freshman season. He's people around college football are like, man, that's a 5-star. He's got potential. Ohio State is, you know, they're going to bounce back next year. Braxton Miller's going to do really well. Braxton Miller ended up being Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Led the Ohio State Buckeyes in rushing that year, right? So a pretty solid freshman season for a 5-star quarterback. Almost lived up to expectations, per se. And the next year, Ohio State hired some guy. You might know him. I don't know. His name's Urban Meyer. Ohio State brings in Urban Meyer, and it's a recipe for success for Braxton Miller. Braxton Miller just thrives. They went 12-0. Like Braxton Miller really is starting to show his potential. He's like, man, I'm here. I'm here to be a Heisman contender. I'm here to be elite. I'm here to just I'm that 5-star quarterback. I'm him. Okay, that was Braxton Miller's thinking at the time, and the Ohio State Buckeyes were rolling. Unfortunately, the undefeated Buckeyes could not go to a bowl game. They had a postseason bowl ban due to some prior stuff from the head coach, some prior selling memorabilia. Can't say the word. I'm illiterate, apparently. And then they forgot to keep an eye on things, and Jim Tressel engaged in unethical things, and it's a big, messy situation, right? We could literally have a whole YouTube video and go into the details on that situation, but we're not going to do that. So, unfortunately, after beating Michigan, going undefeated, that Ohio State team never gets a shot to show anything on a true stage. Which, fun fact, the Michigan game, that started the streak. The streak, Michigan hasn't beat them since. Braxton Miller started that. So Ohio State finished the year number 3 in the country. Postseason ban just kind of dethrottled Braxton Miller's chance of leading that team to a national championship. Now we're on to his junior year. And you're like, man, we saw his freshman, we saw his sophomore, he's getting better. Just let his team undefeated. Like, Braxton Miller, he's the truth. Well, this is when it gets interesting. In that season where they went undefeated, Braxton Miller had over 3,000 yards and 28 touchdowns. Great year for him, right? Ended up being Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and finished 5th in Heisman voting that year. Like, when I'm telling you Braxton Miller, like, played the best football he could have played for his team, he was legit. He was that player where everyone's like, wow, we got to notice Ohio State. Like, Ohio State football is back.
Touchdown. Ball's down the 12-yard line. Designed quarterback run. Miller weaving inside the 5. Touchdown.
Miller rolls right, throws left. He's got a man open downfield. Rod Smith with the catch at the 10 and into the touchdown.
On first down, Braxton looks to the sideline. Beautiful throw and a touchdown. Devin Smith.
Miller follows his blockers. He might have 6 points out of this. Touchdown.
Snapped it at 8. Steps into a throw, and it's caught right down the middle. They're not going to get Stoneburner. Touchdown, 72 yards.
First play from scrimmage for the Buckeyes, and Miller splits the seam. Braxton in the open field. What kind of speed does he have? Braxton Miller. Brown comes into the backfield, and he's going to be the pitchman on the option. Doesn't get it as Braxton Miller keeps it. Miller off to the races. Stutter step. He's got a chance. Touchdown.
Like, Braxton Miller, this team, national championship pretenders. I mean, I guess you could say they were pretenders because they were banned, right? But, like, bro, they could have won the national championship if it wasn't for a postseason ban. We're on to his junior year. Braxton Miller follows up his 2012 season with another perfect season, right? The Buckeyes are 12-0 in the regular season. Everything was looking great for Braxton Miller and the Ohio State Buckeyes. You know, he has some potential. You know, thinking about the draft, a lot of things are going through his brain. He improved as a passer, had 24 passing touchdowns, over 2,000 passing yards this year, and he's cooking with fire, right? He's doing really, really well in terms. And here comes the heartbreaker. Number 2 Buckeyes going to the Big Ten Championship against Michigan State. And they lose. And just like that, college football playoff hope shattered. Braxton Miller's heart broken. I mean, not fully broken. You're still going to a New Year's Six Bowl in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. This is when the story takes that turn, and it's like, I have to sit here and be entertaining through like a very adverse time for him, but he goes into plays Clemson, loses a heartbreaker, but what we didn't know is he partially tore his labrum. Now, on his throwing shoulder, like, it's, man, you're like, you just went undefeated 2 years in a row. You took a heartbreaking loss. You suffered your postseason bowl ban. Took a heartbreaking loss in the postseason in the Big Ten Championship game, and then you go play a Clemson team, lose a heartbreaking game, and then to find out later that you played that whole game on a partially torn labrum, it's like, man, Braxton Miller went on to rehab in spring ball. Missed it, didn't do it. They wanted to wait for his shoulder. August 2014, Braxton Miller is now cleared for practice. A routine 7-yard throw. Braxton Miller is just going through the motions. No contact, nothing. Just a little fall camp action. Just an out route to his wide receiver. Braxton Miller ends up tearing his shoulder. Tearing his labrum. A full-blown torn labrum. No contact, like I said. Just a routine 7-yard out route. Braxton Miller crushed. Dreams, hopes, national championships, being the starting quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, almost down the drain at that point. The thing is, you're out, you're rehabbing, you're watching your team go be great. Ohio State goes on to win the Natty that year with JT Barrett. I think that's like the hardest pill to swallow for him at this point, right? It's not only getting through recovery, rehabbing, but everything you went to Ohio State for, you had to go watch another guy do. And it's great, right? That's a brotherhood, but at the end of the day, that's still sin in your heart. It's like, man, that could have been, that should have been, what should have, would have, could have, right? We could play the game all day. Just a horrible way to just end your career to an extent. Now, Braxton Miller has a decision. Does he want to stay at Ohio State and fight for a starting spot against JT Barrett? Does he want to transfer? What's he going to do? Well, loyal to the soil. Braxton Miller decides to stay another year at Ohio State.
When you thought in your heart, maybe I'll go somewhere else?
I'm a Buckeye, man. I got a tat on my shoulder, so my son gonna come here one day.
And this time, he decides, you know what? I'm gonna give JT Barrett the shine at quarterback. He hit that mature point. He's like, I still want to play football for the Ohio State Buckeyes. How can I make it happen? So he moves to like this wide receiver H-back spot. Went on to have a pretty good year, about 350 receiving yards, a few touchdowns, some rushing yards. He went on to do really well.
Excellent protection. Delivers a low throw, and Braxton Miller showing the skills.
Miller, this is his first catch as a receiver. What a catch it is. He lays out, gets his ball.
So far as Elliott looks to throw, loops it downfield. Braxton Miller makes the catch, shakes a man and scores.
Miller on the keep. Miller in traffic. Miller with some running room, and he'll keep it. Miller pops through a hole, and Braxton Miller after a tackle close to the goal line. Cardell Jones back in at quarterback. His pass is caught. Braxton Miller makes a great move, and Miller
Didn't believe in it.
wide open man, Braxton Miller.
Going back to the huddle, and he's saying, come on, Cardell, I'm wide open. You got to put the ball on the money. I had to leap and make you look good.
Buckeyes quick to the line of scrimmage. Looking at the end zone. Touchdown! The touchdown to Braxton Miller, the dynamic player from Dayton.
In terms of a quick position change. JT Barrett and co. ended up doing really, really well, and that's his Ohio State career. It's crazy, right? Like you almost revived the program, put it back at its peak, but then you weren't really there to have the shine with the team. And dealing with injuries and rehab. That's adversity. But then the loyalty to stay at Ohio State, knowing you can go transfer and start a lot of schools, but you're loyal to soil. You're going to stay at Ohio State, finish your career out there, bro. That's, and in today's day and age, that seems like ancient. You wouldn't see that nowadays. Like, you have the transfer portal now, right? And the transfer portal is this crazy evolving thing that you would never see this nowadays. He ends up getting drafted in the 3rd round by the Texans. A really risky pick by the Texans. Doesn't work out. He's waived by the Texans, signed by the Browns. Just a day later, get cut by the Browns, and Braxton Miller is now doing good things for the community back home in Ohio. Now, as a kid, is just living his life. His football career seems like it might be over. Who knows? But I can't find like an epitome of like loyalty, adversity, strength, and like being what we don't even see nowadays. Like, I couldn't, like, if you can go find a quarterback that would stick through the thick and thin what Braxton Miller stuck with and stay at their school nowadays, I don't think you can find a single one in the country. I legitimately don't. Like, it is a rarity. It is a diamond in the rough in college football nowadays that players are so quick to give up. And it's not a knock. Coaching changes. Players, a lot of people like to leave. Injury, make them the backup. A lot of them tend to leave just because they feel like they're sunk in the depth chart. It's the way it goes, right? They feel like that's the best move to benefit their career. But the story of Braxton Miller and charging and not giving up, man, it's an inspiration for a lot of kids at home, right? Like, it's like, I led my team back to greatness, but it's almost like I didn't get to experience greatness with a team. In life, you got to make sacrifices, and Braxton Miller, man, he sacrificed at Ohio State. He sacrificed his body. He got beat up. You know, he took a beating. But he was the epitome of what Ohio State would want for their football players, and he still continues to put on for the Buckeyes, and he's still charging. He's still doing cool things. Has his own merch now. He's still growing his own personal brand. He spent those years at Ohio State and just cultivated the man he wanted to be. I'm like tearing up, bro. Okay, like it's such a rarity nowadays, and I'm not gonna sit here and just ramble for another 5 minutes about how a rarity this is, but it's just the story. Well, I'm dying actually. I'm not chuckling. I'm not like crying anymore. I'm just dying. It's just crazy, right? We need more of that in college football, and it would be good for the sport. But Braxton Miller, man, just what a way to deal with the coaching change. And coach was a recipe for perfection. To 2 torn labrums, to continuing to stay, to switch positions just to stay at the university you want to stay at, man. Like, nothing but respect to Braxton. All right. Like I said, ending it out, a story of loyalty, grit, determination, chasing your dreams, doing what you want to do. Having belief, having faith in yourself, and staying loyal to the soil. All right, with that being said, I love all y'all. You already know what I'm about to say. This means I love you in sign language, or share the love. I truly do love all y'all. Y'all stay up, y'all stay blessed. Like I said, I'm always going to end these out with some words of wisdom, and I think the words of wisdom is said through the story. In life, like, you're going to hit adversity. Life is not easy. Life is not fun. Life is challenging. Life is difficult. How are you going to overcome that situation? Are you like going to make excuses for your failures? Or are you going to realize that like the only person you can look into for your failures is yourself? You can sit here and deflect blame for so long, but are you going to just truly go in all on you? I think Braxton Miller's story is just not giving up. I think it should be an inspiration to a lot of y'all at home. With that being said, I love all y'all. You have a good one. I'm out of here.
Ooh.